love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble.
There I am. What's up, racing fans? This is Keith with Each and Every Stride, coming at you with a Kentucky Derby series. Really looking forward to this one here for another episode of the Risenstar at the fairgrounds. It's going to be a monster field of 13 horses with Kentucky Derby points on the line. We're going to be talking about this one. So the point structure goes up. So that means the competition, I think, gets better. And these connections are going to be dreaming big about getting into the starting gate for the first Saturday in May. So let me know who you like to in the comments. It's going to be a massive field here with big points on the line. As I mentioned, it's going to be 50 points for the winner. So 50 for the winner, 25 for the runner-up, 15 for third, 10 for fourth, and 5 for fifth. So, basically doubled up the point structure here, even from a few weeks ago. So I really like this field a lot. All it usually takes is 40 points usually to get into the starting gate. Hopefully these horses stay healthy, stay on track, and really get into that routine. We've seen the fairgrounds, like last year with Sierra Leone, be a really, good starting point for the Kentucky Derby and getting these horses really primed. So looking forward to talking about this talented Risenstar field with you and really going over, it's like a handicapping puzzle, right? So appreciate you joining me here on the Each and Every Stride YouTube channel. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel here at Each and Every Stride. Let's take a look at these old-fashioned PPs I have for you guys here. I really just think that, listen, I mean, you could go a lot of different ways in this one. I just thought that, for me, I'm going to be going with a little price hunting here with one of the favorites. So I like this field a lot. Let's talk about American Promise here. This is a horse for Keith Asmussen will be aboard for the first time for D. Wayne Lucas. This horse has 7 starts, 1 win, 1 second, 1 third, and justified pedigree. So maybe this horse could really show speed from the rail. The Southwest, this horse, American Promise, started really slow and then rushed up, had to challenge the leader and eventual winner, Speed King, there. So as I mentioned, this is a justified horse that, kind of the speed and fade angle a little bit there, though. Maybe we haven't seen the best of American Promise. As you look down the PPs here, it took a little while to break the maiden, but stepped slow last time. Gonna need to break much better. I think you got the right jockey aboard that made a lot of noise on the Kentucky Derby trail last year in American Promise. So I'll be talking about this horse. I like him underneath at least to kind of stick around. And I just was reading some tweets here online is that the weather looks a little bit better. Little iffy for Saturday, but hopefully we'll just have some overcast clouds. Let's talk about one of the main contenders in this one, Jonathan's Way. Jose Ortiz will be aboard for Phil Bauer. This was one of the biggest names, especially last year in the 2-year-old season. So let's take a look at Vekoma, right? I mean, let's talk about this Vekoma, who's been the top of the top this year. So, he's been training very well, coming back into this race here. Now, this was a horse that Jonathan's Way finished 7th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And now he came back in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes there, as you see. Yep, the grade 2. Kind of broke a little awkward and bumped twice and recovered and finished strong and has been training leading up to the fairgrounds for this huge Risenstar on Saturday. I mean, I like the draw. For me, I'm going to be kind of going, as I mentioned, a little price hunting in this one. So the 4-1 morning line, second choice on the morning line here. He's already got Kentucky Derby points. So even if a placement of the top 3 could get him in the starting gate in May at the Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby. And as I mentioned, this is the son of Vekoma, who leads all first crop stallions in Prodigy earnings in 2024. So the one of the main questions for me was the distance, right? So this horse, his races are not the best with the 2 turns. I could see him eventually being more of a, shorter distance, even like a Preakness type horse as well. So Jonathan's Way, for me, I think a legit contender. I'm not going to be using them. I want to try to really spice up this exact and try. So I'm going to be talking about this one a little later on. Let's talk about Vasimo here. The horse is very intriguing. And you get Irad Ortiz aboard. Now, for Todd Pletcher, doesn't really have any Kentucky Derby prospects at all. So this is kind of the Pletcher move to try to see if maybe a horse with 2 starts and 2 wins can kind of really jump up for his barn and, really get this Pletcher barn into the Kentucky Derby mix. So this horse does not have any qualifying points yet for the Derby, for the Kentucky Derby. But, it's interesting that, Irad's been on this horse twice. He travels from Florida to go to New Orleans. And I just think that, maybe this is a move. It's a little bit of a desperation move for the Pletcher barn, but this horse does have the pedigree. I mean, for me, it's a by Kentucky Derby winner Nyquist. And out of a dam, B Sharp Sonata has actually won 6 stakes races and earned nearly $600,000. So pedigree really suggests that 2 turns for Vasimo could be a big player in this one. Has never raced at the fairgrounds. So that's something that I've learned at least the last couple years, these horses that just, I don't know, it's going to be tough for him to kind of step up in this stakes competition at the fairgrounds. I really wanted to like this horse as a price 8-1 morning line. And, if East Avenue or Jonathan's Way aren't ready, we'll be talking about East Avenue in a second. If they're not ready for off of their layoffs, this horse could really factor and jump up at a price. Let's talk about East Avenue. I was just talking about this horse here. We'll get to Chuck of Gold, but East Avenue, this is the Godolphin homebred. So a lot of buzz still with this horse. It's been 3 starts, 2 wins. And the the pedigree, right? I mean, it's just a Magliadoro with the Ghost Zapper mare. So, just looks like the goods. I mean, I know it's the 3.5-month break, but the race does go through this horse, East Avenue. It just has the close relation to Cody's Wish. And, just seen, for the race at Del Mar, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I mean, you saw this horse really just go to his knees. And Tyler Gaffilone at the time was just wrapped up on him, just said, I know it's the Breeders' Cup. You went off as the favorite 9-5 in that race. He's actually 9-5 in this morning line, in this Risenstar. For me, it was just a total throwaway, even though it was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Got to watch that replay. Really remarkable that he just got right up, but not used to being 7th or 8th. He's used to be really on the lead. So I think it really comes down to, is this horse, I mean, he's going to have to, he did develop, right? I've seen some pictures of him. The workouts look very good. So going to look to really win basically gate to wire, in this one. There is going to be a little speed from even American Promise, the number 1 that I talked about, but this horse is the class, I think, and the race goes through him. So it's going to be East Avenue. It's going to be my top pick. I'm going to be talking about in a moment. So let's talk about Chuck of Gold. So Chuck of Gold here for Abel Cedillo will be aboard. Now, this horse, he's going to be a closer. Comes from Turfway Park. So we don't know much about this form, right? How it's going to translate on the all-weather surface at Turfway. How that's going to translate. I could have recalled there was a horse or 2 that came over from Turfway last year in this fairground circuit. I don't really think they did too much. It's totally different surface. Again, I was saying the weather's improved a little bit, but the positive sign for this horse, Chuck of Gold, is that the speed figures, they're pretty competitive with most of these horses in the Risenstar. Pedigree suggests that racing at this 1 mile and 1/8 distance won't be difficult. So he's kind of a wild card for me as a horse player. First time racing on dirt is a tough thing for me to take. I'll let him almost beat me, but it's going to be a price, though, if you want to at least use that horse underneath. So that was Chunk of Gold underneath there, possibly. And let's talk about Giacoso. So Giacoso here, it's just another horse here that I thought was interesting. I'm actually skipping over a couple horses, aren't I? So I'm getting ahead of myself here. We got Seattle Road. Let's talk about Seattle Road. I've handicapped this horse a couple of times. Going to be coming from way off the pace for Tom Amos. So this is the number 6 horse here in the Risenstar. by Quality Road, has the Tappet, pedigree, so would like to go long. It was a 79-1 long shot in the last race at the Lecomte, and didn't really do much running. It was a sloppy track that day. This horse did come on a little late though. Came on. I saw the replay. That race was won by Disco Time by Brad Cox there, the trainer. But for me, Seattle Road, it's probably too far back, right? Too far back in this one, even though there is some speed up front. It's for Tom Amos, who's from New Orleans. So I wish the connection's the best, but just for me, going to have to really show up and really improve. Let's talk about number 7, Sepetarian here. So this is for Flavien Prat and Chad Brown. So connections that you really can't ignore. I really wanted to get on with this horse, but I couldn't get there. I mean, it just is gelding, won, both of his races at age 2. And, it just comes down to this horse was actually claimed and then was transferred to the Brown Barn. This horse does come out of the Mucho Macho Man Stakes. That race is not held up well at all on this Kentucky Derby series leading up to the Kentucky Derby. I mean, you had a couple of horses, Guns Loaded and Treaty of Rome, disappointing since that. So that has not been a strong race to look at for Sepetarian. So for me, I'm going to fade that race. So I'm going to fade this horse, even though he is adding blinkers. So blinkers will help this horse focus maybe for the first time. But in this big stakes race, just not for me. Even with those top connections, I'm going to pass. Let's talk about number 8 here, Giacoso. I was getting ahead of myself before, but Giacoso for Keith DeSormo and Jaime Torres will be aboard. This horse does have a good echo-based speed figure of 98. So that kind of caught my eye. Going to be a closer. Going to have to really have a setup off the pace. Has raced on the turf and finished 3rd on the dirt. And that was a one-turn race in the 1 mile Iroquois Stakes back in September. That race was actually won by Jonathan's Way. So a lot of these horses are kind of facing off again with each other. Keith DeSormo can pop up at a price at the fairgrounds. Maybe one to kind of look at a little bit underneath. I'm just, got to move forward, right, with the dirt form. So for me, I'm just going to pass in this huge stakes race. Let's talk about number 9, Built. There's a lot of buzz about this horse. 5-1 morning line for Luis Saez and Wayne Canelato, the trainer. Hoping Wayne has a Derby horse here. Can this horse rate? That's when I came back to the last race in the Lecomte. Can this horse actually rate? He's going to need to, because, you got East Avenue up front. Jonathan's Way is going to be saving ground from that 2 post. I just think that it's tough. Tough for me to get value on the 5-1 there. I did like how this horse kind of re-rallied in the slop against Disco Time, but at the same time, he did get nipped at the wire. So I know it's tough to come up with an excuse on that one. This horse has been training really well, according to some quotes in the media from Wayne Canelato. So they were going to originally pass on this race in the Risenstar, but now they're here. They think maybe, at least a top 3 finish. This horse does have 20 Kentucky Derby points. So as I was saying, 40 could be enough. It looks like, it's still early, but 40 could be enough to get in. You do have Luis Saez aboard for the first time, which I do like. Good gate jockey, likes to get his horses forwardly placed. Excellent pace rider too. But for me, I'm going to pass. I really, like I said, I wanted to get paid in this one. I have a couple long shots that I want to talk to you about, but you can go a lot of different ways. Very talented horse here by Hard Spun, and the pedigree suggests shouldn't have a problem, but can he rate? That's the big thing with Built. So let's see. Let's find out on Saturday. So this is a horse that I've kind of landed on. I didn't think I was going to get there, but I did a lot of handicapping today. And this is for Kentucky Derby, winning connections last year. So this is for Kenny McPeak and Brian Hernandez Jr. This is Render Judgment, number 10 horse. Now, hear me out on this horse. So this horse has got some extra rest compared to some of these. Now I know Jonathan's Way and Avenue is going to actually, they got the nice rest there of 3.5 months or more, but this is Render Judgment. he did run in the Gun Runner Stakes, but some of those horses did come back to race again. He hasn't raced since then. This is a closer that's going to be coming off the pace. I'm hoping he could be a little bit closer. He did race in the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes at Churchill Downs, the same race that Jonathan's Way was second place. And then he was third. He was the Gun Runner Stakes that I'm talking about on December 21st at the fairgrounds. This horse blew the start. And that was a race that was won by Bill. The horse that I was just talking about was only a 5-horse field. Now, Magnitude, I'm going to get to, was second in that race. So I didn't think I was going to really be using that race, but I watched the replay. I thought there was at least a legit excuse that this horse could at least move forward. He's going to need to, for sure. This is Render Judgment. I mean, it just comes down to the setup, right? The closing setup. And then he just kind of lightly raced compared to some of these, at least recently. Let's look. So we got the Keeneland debut, then was at Churchill, broke the maiden at Churchill. Then I mentioned the Jockey Club to, Jonathan's Way there, and then the Gun Runner. I think this is the kind of horse that could move forward at a price, 12-1 morning line. I just think he's going to have to move forward in this big Risenstar Stakes. So let's talk about one of my favorite horses I've mentioned many times on the Each and Every Stride contender, the Derby series here, Jolly Samurai. This horse didn't really show much last time. I really like this horse from Remington. I can't fault the connections for, keeping this horse on the cycle. The next month, keep him at fairgrounds, big time closer. I just think that this horse really likes more of the sprint kind of distance at Remington, where he excelled at. He just didn't show anything really for me in the Lecomte. Is well defeated in that one. And, just for me, going to pass. I mean, I always keep an eye on this horse, kind of root with my heart a little bit. But, it's just something that, hey, you never know. That's why these connections actually put these horses in, because if all else, things fall all perfectly, you never know. You never know. That's why we've seen it in years past, even at the fairgrounds. Some bombs can win. So let's talk about number 12, Vamos Carlitos. I think I got that one right. So let's see. As far as this horse was interesting, I mean, you got Florent Giroux aboard, and Greg Foley's the trainer. This horse doesn't have any Kentucky Derby points yet. Is out of a Catholic boy and Meglidoro mare. So that looks good there. Interesting horse. Definitely big long shot, though. I mean, speed figures, they did increase last time, which I did like. But for this horse, he debuted last September in a race that was originally scheduled for the turf and then finished 11 out of 12 in its next start, which was on the grass. So this horse originated from the turf. He was actually put in a claiming race on the 1 mile claiming race at Churchill Downs. Let's look at it. Yep, there it is. So, and then claimed. So there it is. You see it right there in the PP. So claimed. So you got the new trainer here. And then it just, he started off with a 1 mile and 1/16 allowance race on dirt on January 20th. So you see that here, the speed figure did go up. Now that was finished. He finished third place against Admiral Dennis. So that's a horse that kind of is a talented horse. Going to have to really move forward from that effort, though. I mean, the speed figure did improve, but going to have to really step it up. And the post does hurt, though, a little bit from the closer. And let's talk about the horse that I actually bet last time as my long shot. And you know what, folks? I'm going to be going back to the well again. So I did like Magnitude last time in the Lecomte. And I like how this horse finished. Now, listen, it was the slop. It wasn't ideal conditions. If you watch the replay, this horse finished well. Now, listen, you're going to think I'm crazy because of this 13 post. I'm going to get a price on this one. Steve Asmussen has done very well in this race in the past. Now, you get Ben Curtis aboard here for the first time. So, this horse does have 5 Kentucky Derby points right now. And, listen, it's going to have to try to save some kind of ground from that post. That's going to be the key here in the Risenstar. I like the running style, though. I think this horse is at least quick enough. He's got a couple of closers to his left. So a little quick enough to kind of jump out, save a little ground. Not sure if he's going to get exactly to the rail, but could get decent positioning. And if you could just stay somewhat up close, mid-flight, give him a shot. It just comes down to that. This horse was the speed and fade angle from the Gun Runner Stakes versus Built. That's why I liked him originally. I just think that both of Magnitude's wins, they came last year at age 2. They were at 7 furlongs, and the other one was a mile and 1/16. So it's going to have to really step up. I mean, I've watched the replay a bunch of times. I did like what I saw there at the end, though. I really did, in that huge, talented Lecomte field. Maybe a step forward here, even from the 13 post. Thank you so much, guys. So let's talk about my picks here. Appreciate you watching and following along here on the Each and Every Stride YouTube channel. So let's check it out. You can go a lot of different ways in this one. So good luck on Saturday. So let's talk about it, folks. So Risenstar, my top pick. I just couldn't get around him. East Avenue. I know he's 9-5 morning line. So that's the morning line favorite. I like the top pick. I do have a couple prices, as you see underneath here, though. East Avenue had the big excuse in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I think any move forward, you could win this one. I'm convinced that even if it's like a 95% East Avenue, he could still win. I want to like Jonathan's Way. I think this horse is very talented. I could see it more of like a underneath kind of coming on strong like he did last time at Churchill. So that's why I'm just not going to use him, though, because it's a 4-1 morning line. Built is 5-1. Little uncertainty if he can rate. I just said, you know what? I'm just not going to use both of them just because I want to get a price here. So East Avenue is my top pick. Render Judgment. Now, I wasn't originally on this horse. I think the potential is there. He's had some bad trips. He's had that rough start in the Gun Runner Stakes. Need a big move forward. We've seen it, though, with these horses before. And let's talk about Magnitude. He was my value long shot. I believe he finished 6th in the Lecomte, but never know. Tough post. I'm going to get a price for sure because bettors don't like to bet horses from that 13 post. I'm hoping there's no scratches in this race, but I really liked how this horse finished strong there in Lecomte. So there's going to be my play, folks. It's going to be an exacta box of 4, 10, 13. So these 3 horses. But check it out. I got American Promise in my trifecta box. As I mentioned before with Keith Asmussen, I just think that this horse is going to show speed from the rail. He's going to have to really, can't blow the start like last time, stick around for a big price in this one. You're going to get way more than 12-1, I think, morning line. I think the money's going to pour in on East Avenue. That's why I wanted to surround him with some long shots here as well. Oh, man, I could talk about these horses all day, but I really appreciate you guys tuning in here. It's the Each and Every Stride YouTube channel, and you're watching the Road to the Kentucky Derby series here. I go over the races, I handicap them with you, I give them my plays, and I come out with a racing recap on Mondays to kind of go about how we did and what we saw, some highlights from over the weekend. So give me a follow at Each Every Stride on X, Twitter, and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, Each and Every Stride. I really appreciate that support. So let's have a big day on Saturday, February 15th. I'm feeling good about it. Let's all cash, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.